All right, what's up, everybody? Orange Pill Docs, we're going live. We're gonna make sure it's working.
Just two dumb docs doing
Yeah.
it live for the first time.
I see it on Twitter. Let's see. I don't know how to check it on YouTube. We don't have any
It'd be
followers.
cool to have this as a more regular where just people jump on and
Yeah,
this
we
is
don't have
kind of what the
anything
whole
really on
idea of the
YouTube.
community is just people start talking and sharing thoughts on, all the stuff that's coming. It's like every day it feels like there's some crazy new news in the Bitcoin space.
Yeah, for sure.
Even just concerning strategy, right?
Yeah. So I don't expect anybody to jump on live, but we're at least trying it out just so we know the technology for where we eventually want to take Orange Pill Docs. Oh, it says 3 viewers. Sweet. Welcome. Drop a comment if you're viewing. Thanks for joining us. We decided to make an emergency pod. Number one, because Adam's going on vacation and we won't be able to talk this week really about much besides text message. And two, Sailor, if you're not paying attention, just dropped another new preferred instrument, Stretch, STRC, a monthly fixed variable dividend, but it's a guaranteed dividend. Is that correct, Adam?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to
high grade
SOFR
income, short duration.
Right. SOFR plus. And the premium or the spread above SOFR is guaranteed by the overcollateralization or Bitcoin rating of MSTR.
Why don't you just jump to the next slide, Chris?
So this tweet that I made back to Mason Ford got a little bit of traction, but this capital stack is declaring itself as FCKD. STRF is most senior. The new one, Stretch, STRC, is directly below that. STRK, which is a convertible, and then STRD, which is the quote-unquote junk bond. Say they're just pulling another one out of the hat.
We should have seen it coming, guys.
Some people called it. I mean, I think Mason called it. He had it FCD or FKD, which you kind of like you read between the lines. I thought there'd be a U somewhere, but we got C first. We need to buy a vowel. All right, so going over, let me get rid of this logo so we can kind of talk about what these are. So we made this because our primary focus is not like the True North viewers, although I expect a few people will watch this and hopefully share it. We're targeting docs to like wake up, get off of zero, and like realize that the target dated funds that your job puts you in are not the answer and not going to get you to retirement. We poorly timed an episode drop today where we talked to my dad, who's been a primary care doc for 35 years. And he goes through his history of his career and like most importantly why he did everything that he was told to do and what is conservatively recommended, but he realized he was still behind.
Yeah, I think the gestalt of that whole episode was that here's somebody who's like towards the tail end of his medical career as a physician that's done literally everything right, invested appropriately, saved appropriately, and he's still like, well, shit, I can't retire yet. What am I doing wrong? And our whole idea is that there's people in medicine, obviously, we're geared more towards physicians, being both docs ourselves, but like looking around at some of these nurses, looking at the techs, like I don't see how any of these people are going to be able to retire on a fiat standard. And that's the whole point. And here's a case study here where they've done everything correctly. And as a physician, is still not going to make it. So there's clearly something that has to change. And that's part of the reason all these products are so important to pay attention to, is because you look at this stuff and it just looks like alphabet soup, right? And you're like, I don't know what this other preferred is. I don't know what the bond market is. I don't know what any of this means. I don't even know what Bitcoin means. That's kind of why we started to put this information out, is because you need to start paying attention. And the sooner you start paying attention, you go down the rabbit hole and you start realizing like, this is why this is important.
Yeah, I think every Bitcoin class kind of makes its own community and like their knowledge grows together. Like I think the classes share information, but you definitely gel with the people that joined up and started being active on social and like contributing to the community in the same era, for lack of a better term, than you did, right? And this, I guess we felt compelled to make this live stream because this era is about to take off like a rocket. And if you're not paying attention, you're going to be left in between and you have to wait around until the next era forms itself. And like, obviously the older generations of Bitcoiners are always looking out for the next generation, but we don't want anyone to be left behind. That's why we started this podcast. That's why we're going live today.
Yeah, I think the earlier you get on the ship, obviously the more you're going to benefit, right? That's just
financially, and I think just understanding how to process all these offerings when they come out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what this whole community is about, whether it just be us, whether it be the True North guys, anybody that's a Bitcoiner kind of has that at their core. And so it's okay to not know what a lot of this stuff is, like most of us with a medical background or science background have no idea how any of this, they just know there's something wrong. And so that's why that's the goal, is to get these guys talking and explain it to one another and learn from people smarter than us.
Yeah. And I think every time someone explains the same, when everyone's looking at the same like instrument for like a strategy instrument, but explains it a little bit differently, even though me and you are both pretty well in tune with all these things, like I feel like I pick up little nuggets here and there when someone with a different view or a different way that it processes in their brain puts it to paper and puts it to a stream, puts it to a video.
Yeah. And there's no one right way to invest, right? The whole goal
Yep.
is to get to the point where you're more financially free. That was kind of episode 1, opportunity cost. Get to the point where you don't have to work as much. You're not stressed out about finances. Like you have enough stress in medicine itself, taking care of people and keeping people alive. The goal should be not to worry about finances. And so this is why this is what Saylor's doing, right? He's literally tapping into all these capital markets, funneling those dollars into Bitcoin and plugging it all into this giant ecosystem and this giant yield curve that he's creating.
Yeah, he's building a risk curve and a yield curve. And it's like choose your own adventure, but you have to know what it is. Someone said, will this stream be available and recorded? Yes, Dennis, it should be recorded. And we will, it'll be on the socials where you're watching it now. Thanks for commenting.
Yeah, we're on YouTube and X. We're just starting. We want, this is what this whole community is about, just like asking questions and figuring out stuff together. So there are no dumb questions. I know you guys hear that all the time. We hear that all the time in medicine too.
So getting through these instruments, like people that are totally not aware of what's going on, Saylor has a whole ladder of preferred offerings. There's the Strife instrument STRF, which is the top of the capital stack, meaning that if there's a liquidation event or there's distress in the system, that's going to get paid out first. If that's not going on, then it's paying out a $10 fixed dividend per share. And again, it's got the seniority premium. STRC Stretch is the new one that was announced today. It's different in that the dividends are floating, and then the dividends are floating, and then the par value is essentially designed to stay flat at $100 per share, so that it becomes basically a money market fund that's SOFR plus premium that's collateralized by the Bitcoin stack. So that's a whole new angle that Saylor's taking in his whole structure. I think it's going to take a while for the markets to digest that and figure out what it means. It's pre-IPO right now. It's going to IPO, and then they've already said they're going to have an ATM on it. I'm curious to see how big the ATM is compared to the other ones. What do you think, Adam?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, I think maybe similar to, like, obviously more than STR for Strife, but much less than like the Stride and some of the junk bond equivalent. I think the interesting thing is, like, I think about how Saylor came up with this, and just knowing him mash around the keyboard with AI, he probably saw Misty MSTY and saw how much demand there was, and whether it be through X or just the demand in itself. And for those that don't know, Misty is not associated with strategy. It's the Yield Max fixed income product. But he saw how much demand there was for, like, fixed
monthly income.
And he's like, okay, well, how can I create a product with that actually leverages that and keeps it within the strategy ecosystem? And not only does that, like, MSTY is not funneling that money into Bitcoin. What the genius part of this whole thing is Saylor's actually created this quintuple, ATM with quintuple torque, where he's going to be able to flux that fixed income money that's coming in back into Bitcoin, which is going to continue to power the whole ecosystem.
Exactly.
MSTY does not have that.
And think about the dividend goes out every month and how much of that's going to get reinvested.
Yeah. I think
talk about reflexivity. Like, it's going to keep, it all feeds on itself positively.
It's just crazy that this just, like, comes out and it's brilliant. It's like every move he makes on the chessboard, he just adds one more piece to the chessboard. It's like, how are you supposed to beat somebody that constantly generates new pieces out of nowhere?
Yeah. I think a lot of people on the True North community in the comments and even on the screen were talking about a monthly fixed. I don't think that we thought it was going to be a monthly variable fixed. I know I didn't really get that far in my thinking about it.
Yeah, I thought he'd come up with something that was shorter duration than STRF, but I didn't think it'd be variable. I think the other big thing, and obviously some of the other guys will be better at dissecting this, people look at MSTY and they're like, okay, well, the yield's so much higher overall because the Stretch is about 9% per annum.
Yeah.
Where
Divided monthly.
Yeah, divided monthly. But I think the important thing to also consider is your principal. So like MSTY is going to eat away at your principal over the course of the year.
Yep.
Whereas the nice thing about Stretch is not only that, you're going to keep your principal. So this is going to apply, like Chris kind of touched on this. This is all about different risk tolerances for different investors, right? You're going to have the junkies that want to get in and, and buy MSTR and take all the risk and all the upside with also all the corresponding downside. Stretch is kind of the complete opposite. This is the guys that like don't want to lose anything, but they want fixed 9% yields per year. Like where else are you going to get that?
Right. So you're not really taking a stance on really the company, right? Or the credit worthiness. You're just taking a stance that Bitcoin is always going to be a pristine collateral, right?
I think what's going to happen as some of this other stuff starts to get rated.
Yeah.
Stretch is going to look very, very appetizing to those bond investors, those like long-term, right? When you're playing with capital that's in the billions of dollars, if you can get a 9% yield per year at basically like no risk, give me that all day, right?
But even for strategy, from their perspective, like its duration is so short that they're always winning. They can always adjust it to whatever the market's doing.
Right. Well, and yet they have all these other instruments to play with too.
Right. The other ones are kind of opposite. Like the dividend is fixed, and the price fluctuates wildly depending on what the global market's doing.
You want to flip over to the next slide? I think that has a good.
Yeah. So I mean, this is just the Jesse's slide, and then Adrian posted this today. He added the extra pump where Stretch. I keep wanting to call it Strike, but it's Stretch. Is pumping capital out of this money side. 120 trillion. In assets, that's considered money, short duration, liquid. And instead of getting 4% in your money market or your high yield savings, I don't think is even, I don't know what it is anymore, but
my
say
money
4%.
hasn't been there for a while, so I wouldn't be.
Me neither. But Stretch is doubling that, and it's collateralized by Bitcoin. So if you believe in Bitcoin, even if you don't, like. And
well, I think what's going to happen is like over time, it's going to default. It's going to be seen as the hurdle rate, right? You can already kind of just see this starting to percolate in the news. You turn on the news and you watch some of this stuff, and it's almost like it's crazy where we are now compared to like 6 months ago or even a year ago.
Yeah.
And so when that starts to happen and it is widely accepted as pristine collateral, everybody's going to want these products.
Right. And then there again has first mover advantage into a huge pool of capital. Everyone else is being reactive to this, right?
Yeah. I think another big thing I'd like to touch on is like with Strike and Strife, for those that are following, just solely looking in the charts, they saw that principal appreciation. Like most of those start off about $85-$90 and now they're trading up around 120.
Yeah.
This Stretch is not that kind of a product.
Correct.
You likely are not going to, the whole point is that it doesn't have much volatility as the yield. So you're not going to see it start out an IPO around $100. I don't know if you said $95-$100 to start out. That's not going to do the same thing. So don't go buying it, trying to chase, principal appreciation. You're there for the fixed 9% yield. That's a given.
Well, it's variable, but you're there so your capital doesn't go up or down. You know what it's going to be every month, and then you take a bonus on SOFR.
Yes.
You take a Bitcoin bonus, right?
I'll take a Bitcoin bonus.
I would love a Bitcoin bonus. So does this compete with like River? Do you think like their 3.8%? I mean, it's double the return.
I mean, we can get into this a little bit later, but this competes with stable coins.
I mean, it does compete with stable coins. We'll get to that in a little bit, but does it? If you like, I have cash on River that's getting me 3.8% in Bitcoin. I guess the difference is I'm not getting Bitcoin from Strategy. Maybe I bet that would be the next preferred. How crazy would that be?
Well, I mean,
that decreases Bitcoin per share though, so I don't know how that.
Isn't that MSTR?
That is MSTR.
Right, you just get back
the Bitcoin yield
is so you just get into it's hard because you have to change multiple denominators in the back of your head. But
I'd be okay taking Stretch and then buying Bitcoin. I would be able to get double Bitcoin that I would from River.
Well, that's the other thing too, is that it's instantly liquid.
And I don't know how is the 3.8% on River taxed.
That's
another point I want to get into.
Did you mention the qualified dividends?
So this Stretch is a qualified dividend. So pretend your tax rate's like 36%, 35% for ordinary income. If you're making whatever you make in your high yield savings, your money market, you're taxed at your ordinary income rate. With a qualified dividend, which is what Stretch is expected to have, you drop down to capital gains, and it's got an income ladder for that. But basically, you get 2.7 times the return from something like Stretch versus money market, based on the difference in the yield and the difference in tax treatment. So if you round up, it's about 3 times more.
And was this a slide showing there's $120 trillion sitting in money market accounts?
Yeah.
And they're going to, and say it looks like they're going to have to cut interest rates with the deficit being as high as it is. Like
this is the slide that Saylor gave of like short duration credit assets. It doesn't quite equal the 150 trillion that Jesse came up with. But like Stretch is that little, you can't even barely see it, that blue thing in the bottom right.
A little blue square.
Stable coins are the yellow rectangle, and like everything else is money markets, US bank accounts, short-term treasuries, and then commercial paper is the pink. So he's going after all of this.
It's just
pretty
crazy.
aggressively, right?
I remember, yeah, absolutely. I mean, look how fast he's pumping out these products. I remember when we would watch some of these keynotes and stuff he would give 8 months ago, a year ago, and he would talk about like how Bitcoin's going to recapitalize the entire capital market and all this kind of stuff. And like, I didn't expect him to come out and just single-handedly YOLO do it himself.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he does some strategy art, Bitcoin tagged art. I'm like looking at this chart.
Yeah, I saw it, the collectibles and stuff.
Does he do collectibles?
Like the MSTR merch, and
I would buy some MSTR collectibles on chain.
I would definitely do that too.
I don't know, real estate. Just because I expect him not to means somehow he'll figure out a way to do a.
Well, strategy. I mean, that's what Bitcoin already is, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you look at it like, or some of these that. Why would you go mess with real estate if you could have something that's going to appreciate an average compound annual growth rate at 30%?
I think jumping into that real estate tranche, which is the word of the month, word of the week, that real estate square here, jumping into that would require them to be an official bank. And I think that they're basically like an investment bank right now. If they started issuing loans and stuff like that, I think that would be a whole different ballgame. I don't frankly really want them to do that unless there's some other backdoor or some way to do it that I'm not thinking about.
Well, I think that's the other thing, right? Is people have been like, well, what is strategy doing? Is it becoming a Bitcoin bank? It's like this makes them the bank.
Yeah, but they're an investment bank. They're not like a taking in loans kind of thing.
Right.
Which has been a big discussion back and forth on X.
I like this slide too, because I think the volatility, like the reverberations of the different products, I think makes sense if you look at the
it's the risk curve. Right?
Yeah. So
Stretch is the new blue one. I got to update my gear, 3D printed gear thing and make a blue one for Stretch.
I'm gonna run out of colors.
I am out of colors. So low vol, intentionally low vol, and its seniority is right below Strife, which is the crown jewel. The $2.1 billion ATM. I think we're gonna see a big ATM. Like I was surprised that Stride only had 4.2 billion. I think that was like a tester.
Yeah, I think that was a tester too.
I think they'll blow through that, and then you'll see a big number. But I would guess that Strike comes at a much bigger ATM. But at the same time, there's not that demand to get into the IPO like there was for the other ones, because there's not, with the way they price it, it's not going to be aimed at
the principal appreciation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think it's still going to be misunderstood.
I think so too. So I think we're all hyped about it on our little silo of Bitcoin X, but I think it might grow slower than we're expecting, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, like this is the whole goal eventually is like, this is what we're getting at, right? There's kind of two ways. Most people, especially in medicine or, like your average person, all of their income is driven by paycheck, right? So you work to make a living and that comes in. The trick to getting out of the hamster wheel is to get to the point where your portfolio becomes your paycheck, right? Yeah. And you can either do that by buying products that appreciate over time and either selling them and taking capital gains hit on those, or you can buy products that have some type of yield on them. And this is the beautiful thing about what Saylor's done is like historically Bitcoin, for those that like don't understand, Bitcoin has historically not had a yield. So people have been able to buy Bitcoin and it's had this great investment return over time, but you couldn't really realize that without actually selling the Bitcoin. And, being a Bitcoiner, the whole idea is like never sell your Bitcoin. Sorry.
Yeah.
But this whole notion is that he's starting to find ways to where your Bitcoin can yield for you without having to sell it, right? Obviously, owning some of these strategy products, you're not inherently owning the Bitcoin itself,
Right.
but it's a proxy that's yielding for you. So you could use that to basically like Stretch and Stripe or in Strike, all three of those to give you different yields, and Strike too, of course. Here's the question I have for you, Chris.
Yeah.
What are you leaning towards? Like, we're both young, and I think we both kind of lean more towards growth at this point in time. But like, this makes me want to have some yield product.
Yeah, I have some because I am on the Dan Hillary train of like capital appreciation. So I own some Strike and some Stride. I got into the Stride IPO just because I knew it was going to be priced low, and it's performed decently well, not as well as Strike initially did, because I think some people are starting to figure it out. Strike, I don't see a big utility for me personally. Like today, again, we're like so early in our career. Like I'm just trying to.
You mean Stretch?
Stretch, yes, Stretch. I'm gonna keep messing that up.
Yeah, strong credit. That's
strong
the way.
credit. Okay.
STRC, strong credit.
That one doesn't have a huge utility for me personally, but I know like I have family members that pay their bills out of money market, right? And like they're loving this high interest rate environment. And if I could say, hey, I can double your yield on that, would you be interested?
Yeah. Well, what happens when they cut interest rates?
Well, it's going to go down a little bit, but you still get a premium.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if this is truly going to be around like 8 to 9%.
What's interesting is there's a slide from the presentation where Saylor basically transmuted the premium from Stride to Stretch. They basically said there's a 3.8% premium on Stride right now above the risk-free rate. And since the risk-free rate of the short-dated treasuries is lower, then the yield basically goes down. But he moved the 3.8% premium over to Stretch. So if the credit worthiness of the whole company goes down, that premium gets smaller, right?
Yeah.
So does your Bitcoin bonus on your Stretch also get smaller? I think it probably does, but it's still SOFR plus. And I trust
still above baseline.
And if you go down the rabbit hole and believe in Bitcoin as pristine collateral, I'll take whatever premium there is. I would actually take a net to SOFR, right?
Yeah. I think the other thing too, we're talking about over collateralized, is that this is second in the capital stack now.
Yeah.
Stretch is just beneath Strife, right?
And it has a moving liquidation preference too.
Yeah. So like that's, again, these are all different risk appetites for different investors. And I know the True North guys have done a good job of explaining, like, they need to meet you in the middle. For those that haven't watched, like, this whole idea that different people have different risk tolerances. And so all of these instruments are meant to meet you at your risk tolerance. And that's how you get people attracted to the ecosystem, right?
Yep. So because we're talking live right now to probably MSTR people that we interact with on Twitter, but we're recording this for docs that will eventually watch it. If you're a doc and this is confusing, that's the point of why we're here.
Yeah.
We have a community that we're starting. Yeah. We have a community we're starting to try to educate people that are willing to put in the work. There's plenty of information out there. I don't claim that ours is perfect or the best. Find something and like get off of zero in terms of knowledge, because like we said earlier, you're going to get left behind, and we don't want anybody left behind, especially docs that are working so hard and anybody else in healthcare that's working so hard to help other people. Help you, like, you do all these hours to accumulate your wealth, like carve off some time to learn how to protect and improve your net income, your net worth.
I think the way Chris and I look at this is what we would be doing off the phone with each other and a couple of our buddies anyway.
Yeah.
And
I would have probably called you after I got the kids to bed.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's like we joked in our first episode, it's a safe space to hide from the wife and the fiance that like are tired of hearing about Bitcoin. I'm sure all of you guys online can probably relate to that in some way or form. But I don't know. I kind of like the idea of eventually getting this to where like this is just a space to get on. And like if you have questions like, hey, I watched the Stretch video from the Sailor and I didn't understand anything, like just get in here and talk about it, right? That's the fact that you're even interested means you're in the right place and your head's in the right space, and we can help kind of dissect it because this is so new. It's literally been out for 5 hours.
It feels like this whole doing it live versus recording it feels kind of like we went to Bitcoin Vegas and we both gambled a little bit together, like played slots. It's like I see the viewer number going up, like there's 50 people watching right now. And then like every time that number goes up, someone's going to comment with a question and we get to answer it.
Yeah, it's fun.
Wait for the slots to hit. But anyway,
Fun about that. I remember we were playing Wheel of Fortune after
Yeah.
the convention, and there's like we're $3 a bet or something, and there's a wheel you spin, and you have to hit like obviously the big jackpot. And Chris was betting like the 3 and not the 5, and one of the wheels like hit the grand on like the 5th one, and he's like jumping up and celebrating. And I was like, no man, that's
you didn't actually win.
Yeah, not gonna make it, buddy.
Yeah. There's some more tweets that I just kind of screenshot. This one, let me go over here so I can read it. This is from Mike W. Moons on X. If you haven't figured it out yet, MSTR is coming for every single capital pool in the world and will convert it all into Bitcoin. The end game of converting all fiat into Bitcoin. The end game is converting all fiat to Bitcoin. And then he has a picture from the presentation, but
he should have made those dots orange.
I think that's from Sailor's slide. So Sailor should have made him orange.
I think that's the important thing to understand, right? This is where this is all going. Like, why should you pay attention to Bitcoin? Is because that's the new denominator.
Yeah, it's the hurdle rate. It's
yeah.
And we didn't even talk about crypto. Big crypto announcement from DC tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? There's so much to talk about, like what is gonna, and then Trump buying $2 billion worth and jumping past MetaPlanet. Like, where did that come from?
I don't know.
I don't know. He has a history of buying stuff ahead of time, and then like the next day he'd be like, "Now's a good time to buy," and then everything rips, you know. So I don't know. Again, we kind of talked about this earlier. The more you start paying attention, like there's an opportunity cost to your time right now, right? The more time you spend kind of trying to understand this is going to yield more for you down the line.
Yeah.
And so it's fine to ask questions. Like we're here to help each other.
What did Brian Johnson, the big health nut guy?
Oh yeah, you commented something about that. He said something about like going to bed. It's more
whatever keeps you up at night's not worth it. And I said, actually, I think it might be.
Have you heard of stretch?
Yeah, I stretch at night. That's what I'm gonna go back and comment that. Stretching is an important part of my routine.
I'm gonna stretch your chainus.
Let me read this one. Let's see what it says. This one was actually kind of the future where I'm waiting for Punter Jeff and Dan Hillary and everyone to talk about. Bitcoin Asset Research at Stony Chambers shared this long post, which I just got the beginning of it. But basically that stretch, once we get to the near future of like tokenized equities, that stretch is mathematically designed to hold its value basically flat. It's over collateralized by Bitcoin and it becomes its own stable coin with a yield.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about. Like,
so
how much is Tether's market cap?
A lot. I don't know. Off the top of my head.
Look that real quick. It's something huge.
Stablecoins in that other slide. Stablecoins are the yellow rectangle in this slide. So it's 250 billion, 0% yield.
Yeah.
I mean, Tether's a big part of that. I don't know. I'm very interested to hear what people come up with for the tokenized aspect of it, the options on it. Like, I don't know. Would options on Stretch be worthwhile? Probably not. I don't know. Are options on any preferreds?
I think the options market, I mean, Chris and I are not as much options guys as we'd like to be in the future. That's something we could learn more about. But from what I understand, you want more volatility in that market. So this product would not be. But some of this other stuff, right? Like imagine, again, this is like goes to show you could talk about this stuff days, weeks. Like imagine if the preferreds do open up an options market, like Strike instantly becomes like there's even more demand for Strike, right? Look at the volatility in that in the last 3 months. It's gone up 30% and it still has that 6 to 8% yield.
Right.
Dan Hillary after this news is somewhere in like a dark
room. He'll have a video out tonight. I'm expecting
water. He's just processing all of this,
Yeah. We're second to market behind Adam Livingston, who like immediately had a 30-minute video out in the orange tie with slides. Like, I don't know how that guy does it.
For all we know, Adam Livingston is Sailor's AI robot that helps create these products.
I commented on it. He said, my AI engineers designed me to always be wearing my orange tie.
I haven't posted this on X and I've thought about it several times, but the funny thing is I think a lot of us probably watch videos at like 1.5, 2 times speed. It's kind of like, normal now, but in medical school, Chris and I both got through med school, like not going to class and like watching videos at 2 times speed.
It's the way of the world now. Yeah.
Yeah, I almost posted something on X. It's like I got through med school like watching videos at 2 times speed like all day, but I think a bigger flex is that I watch Adam Livingston at 1.25 times
Yeah.
speed. You know, that guy's just like I don't know how his brain just functions that way.
I don't watch all of his videos, I'll be honest, but I read his long posts, but more than I watch his videos. But yeah, you cannot watch that guy on fast speed. He talks way too much. All right, we're at 30 minutes. We're probably losing some people. Any last minute questions from the audience? If you're watching, we're happy to take questions, talk about it. Adam, what is your overall? You bullish this week? You think? What do you think is going to happen tomorrow with the announcement from DC?
It's like every time something comes out, I'm like, God, I don't have enough Bitcoin. I don't have enough strategy. I don't have enough MSTR. You know, it's just you can't have enough. You know, and I think that's where this is all going. That's why it's like you just want to shout this to the people who are, you know, sitting in their thinking their Apple is going to go up. You know, I think Steve Jobs made a comment when he was in towards the end of his Apples, like the second you see us start doing stock buybacks, the second you realize we stopped innovating, and that's when you don't want anymore. And that's like most of these Mag 7 companies do now, right?
Yeah. Speaking of buybacks, Stretch has a callable feature where the strategy can buy it back from you, which is interesting.
Very interesting.
I don't know what I'd have to think about what it means if they started doing that.
Well, it goes to show like Saylor may have other products he hasn't released yet that he's planning to incorporate in like these torques in between, you know, that help put the gears together.
Yeah.
That generate an even better flywheel. Like he's mastermind behind all this. It's just amazing to see. I don't think we've seen anything like this anytime recently.
I don't like that Q3 2024 earnings call, which kicked like all of this off into hyperdrive, was like not even a year ago.
Well, imagine what this. I mean, we're talking about all this, and then S&P inclusion, right? Like,
oh yeah,
it's like that's huge too. Like when is that going to happen?
Square got in, right?
What was that?
Who got it? Who just got in? A Bitcoin company, right? Square?
Yeah,
or Block?
I think it was Block. I need to double check which company it was. Yeah, but yes, it was a company that had Bitcoin.
Yeah, they got in because someone bought someone else, right? It was outside of the normal.
Yes.
Of the normal like addition thing.
But what is it? 14 billion in earnings that they're going to post?
I think so. It's coming out on the 31st.
Earnings estimate is like -5 cents a share.
Yeah, -6. I think last time I checked.
Yeah, it's like, and he's just continuing to innovate, right? Yeah. This is where, I mean, Saylor says it best himself. Like, where do you want to allocate your capital? It's something that's misunderstood, has a ton of like technological like potential and disruptive innovation. Yeah. And no one's figured it out yet. And he's literally telling you that as he's doing all this stuff.
Yeah. I was just thinking about when you said that, like you talk about where I'm leaning towards all these products. I think Stretch is a huge game changer for like if you feel like things are getting overheated and you have the need to rotate out.
Yeah, like it's defense, right? Yeah. Like it gives you the chance to pivot, especially if you're worried about like going in a bear market.
Yeah, you pivot and maintain your capital, like your principal.
And it's giving you yield.
Yeah. Because there's a scenario where you could rotate into one of the ones with a fixed dividend and like the interest rate environment moves against you, and then your capital it goes down, right?
Yes.
Depending on what how the cycles align. So it's interesting because you could it's like a free pass, right? It's a clutch. You just press the clutch and coast.
He's got a lot of gears now, man.
I'm gonna just make this a clutch for my gear.
It's gonna be you're gonna be in like a crane operator back there. Make sure it's orange.
Yeah, it's got to be blue. The blue clutch pedal. If MSTR and True North talks about this being a clutch, that'll be like the biggest win in my book.
You've made it. You're just gonna.
I've made it.
I'm not gonna see you at work.
No, I'm gonna be done. I'm gonna join you in Mexico. I'll find out where you're going.
Don't dox where I'm gonna be, man.
I don't know where you're going, so I can't dox you. All right. Any last closing thoughts? I asked you a closing thought and you didn't answer. What do you think is going to happen in DC tomorrow? Are they going to announce how many Bitcoin we have?
I have no idea. I mean, nice. I mean, I told you I'm going on vacation. I'm going to have a hard time like touching sand because I'm waiting for Trump to post that they just bought an ungodly amount of Bitcoin. And I mean, I think that'll eventually at some point happen and kick off game theory. I don't know if that's going to happen tomorrow, but there's that like post that there's 180 days or something since they announced that they were going to like update what their agenda was for.
I'm looking to see if Bo Hines posted anything today. He is not.
I love how Bo's just become the default. Like
Yeah.
he's just one of us. He's just a bro. That's like, you know, I've got inside information.
Yeah.
David Bailey said something like he just posted
it was a meme, right?
It was a Parks and Rec meme of I'm blanking on the actor's name.
David Bailey or Sachs?
No, David Bailey.
I did see that. Chris Pratt.
Yeah, Chris Pratt. And he's like,
he didn't say anything about what it was, and he posted it to the Nakamoto page.
Yeah, isn't that wild too? Like, this is the world we live in, where it's just like the memes are like your alpha, and it's like we did the podcast with your dad, and of course he's like well in tune with all.
He knows all the memes. I was impressed.
But it's just like it's the world we live in, right? It's like such a good way of we inherently get it. You like post that joke or whatever, and everybody just kind of like inherently gets it. And Saylor kind of talks about this in one of his keynotes, and he talks about how like if you post this, like nobody's gonna read a book, nobody's gonna read your 2 paragraphs, but if you say like a 4-word funny thing or like post a GIF, they instantly get it. And that's like how information, like nobody has the time anymore because they're just inundated with all this volume. That's why we have this, right? So we can just talk and like it's easier than texting out all the crap we want to talk about.
Someone said memes are like the most content dense form of communication that we have.
It really is. It's like the most efficient allocation of resources. Like, you know, your energy, just like you don't have to type out the whole thing. It's like, here's oh shit, something's coming. Something's cooking.
I love when partners in our group text me something, and ones I'm like close with and can joke with, I just reply with memes only in GIFs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they know what I mean, which is great.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know what's gonna happen with DC tomorrow either. I think we'll get hopefully an audit of where we're at. If we maybe we get some ideas on what a budget neutral plan is for accumulating. Who knows? But I mean, Trump posted that Bitcoin video in the next day.
Yeah,
that's
we didn't talk about that either. Yeah,
he posted that Bitcoin like best explainer video.
Buys 2 billion of Bitcoin.
Buys 2 billion of Bitcoin for his media company.
I just think it's wild that he's above MetaPlanet now.
Yeah.
You know, well, I think MetaPlanet's a great company too. Like, but it's just crazy that like think about all the work that went into MetaPlanet, like even since the conference, you know.
Yeah.
Well, the
whole 555 plan and everything.
It just goes to show you how much like monopoly money is out there.
It's crazy,
right? You don't want to be the one that's like trying to invest in like the monopoly money. You want the fixed asset that's only got 21 million, less than that, you know, the coins that have been lost. And now all these pools and pools and pools of liquidity are trying to find value in the 21 million.
Yeah. I truly think it's riskier to not have an allocation in something Bitcoin related than it is to have some.
Yes.
At this point, I think we're clearly beyond that.
Yeah,
beyond the Rubicon.
We're at the lowest risk potential in Bitcoin's lifespan now. And that's what I try and tell people, like the people who always come up to you and being like, oh man, I missed it. Like I should have bought it when it was back at 10,000. It's like 120,000 now. It's like, it's too far gone. I'm like, guys, you don't understand. You wouldn't have been the individual to buy it at 10,000 in the first place, because those risks that you're talking about now about like getting banned, all this, those actually existed then.
Back then. Yeah.
Like they don't exist now. This is like the safest risk profile it's ever had. That's why it's going to continue to go up. Like it's got so much asymmetry now. It's a better risk bet. Like if you go to like the blackjack table or like play poker, like you're playing a more, odds are more in your favor now than they were in the past.
Yeah. Do you think that risk profile always gets better over time? Or once we've passed a certain point, do you think that's true?
I think the upside, it depends on where you are on the S curve, like of disruptive innovation, right? I still think we haven't hit that like steep vertical part of the curve. So I think there's a lot of potential there. Like it just depends on like what you weigh your risk is. But yes, I think that upside compared to the downside is going to be way in favor of the upside for the next couple cycles, I think, at least, you know, in the next 10 years.
Yeah. While we're in the Bitcoin gold rush, basically.
Yeah. You know, 21 million in 21 years.
Yep. All right. Comment for like docs and people watching this after the fact. Hopefully this opened your eyes to like how much you don't understand, which is totally fine. Go back to episode 1, join us on the Bitcoin Fellowship. We're working through it together, trying to educate people that care about their finances, you know, have done the work in terms of their career and maybe you realize you're doing the right thing, but it's not enough. That's why we're here. We try to keep it pretty high level on that side of things, but there's just so much news. We felt like we had to jump on here and do a live, talk about some strategy news.
Yeah.
Otherwise, any slides we try to make for future fellowship shows, like
instantly get well, you know, I remember we did one of those episodes and like we didn't have the stride in there yet because
it was so new.
He updated too fast. It's like, Sailor, go take a break, you know.
Yeah.
With your I think the other thing is like reach out, like if there's something you guys want to see, or like even just do a live stream and have a couple people jump on and like talk about stuff. Like that's the point of this, you know. We all learn from each other and learn more, ask questions, and there's stuff that we figure out from each other.
Yep. All right, we got 70 viewers. That was so many more than I thought we were gonna have. So thank you for joining.
Bitcoin Fellowship is the name of the podcast, and then Orange Pill Docs is our Twitter handle.
Yeah,
X handle. But
why is there no names? I'm trying to put up our handles, but it's not working. This is why you don't do it live.
Two Dumb Docs. That's where we're gonna change the podcast name.
There we go.
But yeah, our goal in the future is to have multiple different, like, if you guys want to see more medicine stuff too, like we can always do an episode about that, because obviously we have a lot to talk about with medicine. We're two anesthesiologists, but the goal is eventually have more docs, more physicians, medical people on the show, and like just get to know their background, how they got orange pilled, how they orange pill other people. You know, I think that's the kind of the neat thing about the ethos of being a Bitcoiner is you kind of want to help as many people as you can. That's part of the reason we started the show, and it's nice to see how other people do it and kind of give insight into that.
Yeah. Here we go. Now we're back with no names.
We'll
figure it out eventually.
MicroStrategy 1, MicroStrategy 2.
Yeah. You got the OG hat on. I love it.
This is the one I'm bringing on the trip, man. I've got that. I've got some of my strategy shirts. My fiance was like, "You're not wearing that. It's free
100%.
advertising." I was like, "I'm 100% wearing this. I'm hoping I meet people at the pool that I can talk to about this stuff."
That'd be awesome.
Talk about it at the pool. I'm like, "Yeah, I'll go get you a drink, and then I'm gonna go talk about it at the pool."
Yeah, you got to enjoy your vacation. I've had a couple this summer. We took them early.
Yeah. I've got a couple books that I brought to read.
Bitcoin books or non-Bitcoin books?
Bitcoin books, Bitcoin Nation. I had commented the other day on Sapiens, which is like a really good book. If you guys haven't read it,
I haven't read that one.
Punter Jeff, you've never read that one? You like that one, Chris? Punter Jeff made some comment about like how Bitcoin, kind of like what we were talking about, like was good for humanity, and like how it's this whole dissemination of information has made everything better. And I kind of commented back and said, like, that's the thing that separates humanity from like every other species, is this ability to like communicate with one another and like have a more delayed time preference. And that's what let us, you know, save value and create society.
Right.
And Sapiens does a really good job. The guys, I think is Noah Harari is the author, and it goes into like how humanity started creating society, and it's through like the development of language and like the formulation of like religion, and that let us have like shared ideas. And it's really interesting to talk about.
Does he get into money, I'm assuming, or no?
A little bit. I don't think I think I read this like way before I was a Bitcoiner. I can't remember when it came out. I think it definitely goes into money somewhat. And that's obviously like a core tenet, right? Like you need some type of money to store your value so that you can have a delayed time preference. If you're only worried about like what you're eating, like for the next meal, right, and where your water source is, you know, and running from predators, you're never able to like save your build, right? You're not going to
like hierarchy of needs. Like if you're not secure and safe in where you sleep at night, then you're not ever going to develop to anything longer term.
Yeah.
Like the next sunset or sunrise.
There's a really cool part of the book where they talk about like the innovation of fire and like how that actually changed our entire like biochemistry, because that allowed like our guts to actually get smaller, because we used to be like all of our energy was spent towards like digestion, because we're eating like these products that were, you know, like tough,
because they weren't cooked.
They weren't cooked, and so your like biochemistry had to focus on expending energy to like consume that energy. And so not a lot of it was all parasympathetic nervous system, right? None of it went to like brain development. And then the innovation of fire, I mean, this is obviously like a theory, but the innovation of fire allowed like more of that to be, that is already broken down. It's for
pre-digested basically by fire.
Yeah. And then so the rest of that energy could be redistributed to other organ systems. And one of those, that's the reason they think our brains like 3 times. There was like a period in time when it like went off the map in terms of growth compared to
like primates and stuff.
Primates, yeah. Kind of interesting.
I see how they get to that end point of the theory.
Yeah, but no, it goes to show you like how much like one technological innovation can change like the course of not only our species but also like our society, right? And you think back to like Sailor does a good job listing all of these, but like electricity, the light bulb, the combustion engine, the printing press, like that's what Bitcoin is eventually doing. And I kind of alluded to this in the past, but like it's this, if you think about it from a science background, it's this first law of thermodynamics where energy is neither created nor destroyed. Every time that you go to work and you go mine fiat, right, and you get that money back for your expenditure of energy, you're losing value in the form of heat as like taxes, friction, and then also like drag, fiat debasement from inflation, right? So that 100% of your work immediately becomes closer to like 60% after taxes and inflation. Right. And so you're losing value. The whole game is like you're trying to save that energy that you input. And Bitcoin is the most efficient. There's other assets that obviously help. That's gotten further and further out of the risk curve. And that's why like a lot of people invest in Mag 7 and tech stocks now, because they want to try to keep as much of that energy preserved closer to 100% in assets. Yeah. But Bitcoin is that new transformation. That's why it's the hurdle rate, is because
it's outside of the whole system.
It's outside of the system, and it lets you save that energy, and it's the lowest amount of heat loss, right? So if you restructure our entire society on something it lets you save that energy to where you're no longer running on a hamster wheel.
Yeah. Because it's secure and decentralized, like it doesn't allow people to steal from everybody else, like by inflation and by other means, taxes.
Yeah, and it's not only benefiting like the top 1%, right? Think the vast majority of people can't own assets, right? And their time preference is so short that they have to just like focus on working every day. And, that's why people are unhealthy. The food is broken. No one takes care of themselves. Like they're so focused on just like trying to stay afloat. How are you supposed to look at like down the line, days to weeks and years in advance? You're not, you can't.
Yeah. We're in a day and age where like you finance your Chipotle burrito. Like,
yeah, that's wild, man.
If that's your reality, like you're not saving money. And then you're not investing anything.
I'm gonna buy some stretch so I can get that yield to afford my Chipotle for next week.
My stimmies, it'd be my monthly stimmies for Chipotle.
So I can get guac.
Strats.
Yeah, make sure I can get some guac next time.
Yeah. All right, we've covered a lot of ground. We could talk for days about all this stuff. We have 75 viewers now. Again, thank you.
Hopefully, you guys didn't get dumber on this.
Hopefully, you got a little bit smarter.
Yeah.
If everybody that rewatches this, catch up on the podcast. We're happy to join you. We'll do some more of these live streams. You can ask questions.
Yeah, I think if you get the chance to, Punter Jeff always does a good job of explaining this. But like, go to the conferences. That's part of the reason that Chris and I just like felt the need to start like reaching out and talking more over X. And there's the amount of information that's out there, and just meeting some of these guys and talking to them, like it reinforces your conviction.
Yeah.
Right. Like I think a lot of us sit behind the screen or like watch the YouTube video or, watch Sailor come out with the newest thing. And we're like, man, am I crazy for like no one else that I interact with really? They just think, oh, you're into that crazy crypto stuff. They don't understand that this is how this stuff is still so new. So like talking with other people helps reinforce your conviction and gives you like not only the knowledge, but also the conviction to continue investing and know that you're making a good decision.
Yep. 100%. We'll close with that. I think we're going higher.
Yeah, not to steal.
It feels like Sunday. I keep thinking the market's going to open tomorrow. I'm post call today, so I've been thinking it's Sunday all day.
You're hoping it feels like dot day. Is that what you're saying?
I knew it was dot day, and then I knew we bought with all of like the common stock ATM. We keep trying to close this thing, but we have so much more to talk about. We use
all also interesting too, right? Because then he locked out for a certain period of time before potential inclusion. Like he can't use the common stock for like 2 weeks or something.
Oh, maybe.
And so that might
before earnings. There's an earnings blackout for at least a week.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like I think he pressed on the ATM knowing he wouldn't be able to use it, and the best time to use the ATM is when there's like a lot of volatility.
That's a great point.
In the market, and so he's going to use it when he can. Like I know everybody and their mom's all upset about like, oh, 99% common ATM, but like it's all a flywheel, man. Like this helps all the other preferreds, and the preferreds are going to help the common. Like it's all going higher. Yeah. So trust me, Sailor. I mean, how many of you guys that are worried about the common ATM, like we're also anticipating him to create a stretch product that's a monthly dividend that basically competes
Yeah,
with
he's gonna get
stable
500
coins
million on an
and
IPO
SPY.
next week probably, and they'll
Yeah,
probably
I mean,
upsize it. I bet they'd make it $1 billion. I would love that. What's your
he knows what he's
prediction?
doing. Like, for the
What's the
ATM.
upsize? No. The upside on the IPO.
Oh, I have no idea, man. I don't even want to try and guess because I'll be way
I'm gonna
wrong.
say $1 billion. You higher or lower?
I'll take a.
It's
what do I
stated
want?
for 500 million. Like yes,
Oh, it's safe for 5.
I think it'll upsize to $1 billion.
What does he have on Strife? Strife's 4.2.
ATM?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'll say $1 billion and $1 just to
You're gonna go one over.
$1 over.
$1 billion may be ambitious, but I think it's gonna be
I'll
higher
start
than
at
500.
500, and then it only ramps up to I'll say 750.
Okay, I think that's probably a very reasonable answer. I'm gonna be bullish and say $1
You're always
billion.
bullish.
I think we feel like we trade it back and forth. But
We definitely do. There's some days that you're just like, dude, calm down.
What are
I'm
we
like, I
doing?
can't, man. I can't, man. Too much.
All right, I'm
I
gonna
don't
end
know.
it.
He also says there's no crypto winner. Like, I wasn't expecting that either.
This is another part of that. Another.
Well, if he just buys, what is it? 27,000 Bitcoin bought by just strategy and the ETS per week. That's on average. There's 3,150 Bitcoin per week from natural supply from miners. That's like an 8.5 to 1, rounded up to 9 to 1 demand, right? Obviously, there's other sellers, long-term holders are going to sell, take profits, all that kind of stuff. But like, it's hard to imagine a time when that's.
But
like
this new instrument is just the adoption dynamics and game theory of it are just totally different, right? It's not dependent on really by Bitcoin price. It's not dependent to. It's not dependent on the interest rate relative to the fixed dividend, like up or down. The price doesn't move.
Yeah.
It's just a true adoption curve of like how many people want to have a high yield savings account backed by Bitcoin for double the return, right?
Yeah, I mean, to get into this stuff, I think you do have to understand Bitcoin. But like, once it becomes, that's the thing. Is that, I mean, there's a lot of maxis out there that are like, oh, this is all, you should just own Bitcoin. And I think there's value in that, right? Owning cold storage Bitcoin has its own value that you can't compare. But like, this is where this is going to go. Like, there's that, which is kind of like fantasy that everybody's going to figure out how to do cold storage and all that kind of stuff. And then there's like the guys that once Bitcoin is like fundamentally understood as pristine collateral, people aren't even going to question what's underpinning this. They're going to be like, oh, this is a company that gives me 9% high yield. It's going
to go down to what's the Bitcoin rating. So it does go down to the credit rating. How many times they over collateralize? I think Ben Workman had a tweet today. Like,
I think that once you get enough, I mean, I think this is way down the line, but comparing different Bitcoin companies, and I think that's part of the reason.
Yeah, you're going to look at the yield, how much yield are they offering, and then how over collateralized are they? Which means that basically translates to how much of a downturn can they survive.
But I'm saying even then, like, you're going to have the average person there's going to be people out there who just never understand Bitcoin, but they're going to want products that generate income, right? And once it's just established that like, oh, this is like safe, like this thing is safe, that money's going to come in, and they're not going to go try to buy Bitcoin. They're going to buy these preferreds in their brokerage account,
My Twitter's going off. My dad's like liking posts from earlier today. He must not notice that we're live, or he'd be commenting.
Number one fan.
He is a number one fan.
That's right.
I had a thought and then I lost it. I don't know. We're going higher. We've been going at 53 minutes.
It's a good time to get into Bitcoin, guys. Like,
it is. The time has never been better.
And Chris always jokes with me about this because I'm the one that we're in the same anesthesia group. For you guys that don't know, we're in a private practice anesthesia group in Texas, and there's a bunch of younger guys in the group, and some of them have been like holding out, and I've been trying to orange pill them since like 40,000 or so, and they just watched it go up and go up and go up, and like finally they're starting. Like, I think I've gotten some of them, and they're like, well, you said it was you're right, it went to 100. And now it's at 120. And I'm like, yes, buy this, hold this, and then also buy these strategy products. I'm like, look at what this, I'm trying to explain that. And
yeah,
I'm just now getting them to like start pay attention to Bitcoin. It just goes to show you like the depth of, it's like
you can ignore Bitcoin and strategy, but you can't ignore the consequences of ignoring those.
There you go.
Right?
That was in the back of your noggin that you were trying to pull out.
It's like Bitcoin fixes this. It always applies. Like whatever you're talking about.
Bitcoin fixes your brain.
I don't know about that, but
No, for sure. I mean, that's how every conversation and argument at my household ends. And sometimes it's the start of an argument.
Yeah. I made a joke on the pod. Bitcoin doesn't fix the Cowboys, but I'm still working on that theory.
I don't know, man. Bitcoin Treasury. Cowboys are a big sports team.
Yeah.
Was it they're like the fourth largest or something? Somebody has to do that research, but I'm pretty sure it's like top 5 worldwide sports team. So that's a lot. Of
Saquon
capital.
came out in other news today. Saquon Barkley.
Taylor.
Yeah, he said he wish he would have taken all of his pay in Bitcoin.
Russell, I think it's Russell Okung. I think he was.
He was the first one.
Was he a guard on the Seahawks or Saints?
I think he was a tackle for the Seahawks.
You would know better than me, but he took his contract in Bitcoin, and it's cool to see him like comment. I think OBJ made some comment because he took his last salary in Bitcoin. It's like doubled, and Russell Okung made some comment about like how back when he was a Giant, he should have done that. Like imagine what your salary would have been back then.
There's a college football player I think that's still active that took his NIL deal in Bitcoin.
That's cool.
I wonder how that works. I don't know.
That would be neat to just.
I want to get him on the pod just to pick his brain because I played college football when you could get 1 meal a day, and like if you took 2 meals, then like you were basically the NCAA just murdered you.
You were a sinner. You were like eating other people's. You're like, can I have your meal ticket for the day?
I got to keep my weight up.
Coach said I need to eat.
Yeah, I was artificially maintaining plus 50 pounds from my like natural set point at any and all times. People are like, did you just work out all the time? Like, no, I just basically ate all that I could
continuously
and like worked out enough to not have a heart attack.
It's a good thing there was fire, otherwise your gut would have been, like what we were talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's crazy. It'd be interesting to see how all that stuff. Like again, there's just so much to talk about. Yep. We tried to when we first joined, we jokingly tried to set up with like head of our group, like, oh, can we do like a anesthesia group, private practice, Bitcoin treasury? Like that would have been like 4x what it is now.
We got a long way before we get to there, but
yeah, they'll never happen. But we can do it ourselves. We can set our own.
You can just do things.
That's right. The joke we always have with the group is like, when our retirement vests, we're just start working less. But
it's looking that way,
guys. Yeah, but I don't know. That's the cool thing. Is like I would still practice medicine. I know you would too. Like
it's more fulfilling. Like I don't care.
Yeah.
What I know, I trust that my paycheck's going to come in, but I'm not like counting.
You don't have to worry about taking extra calls. You don't have to be stressed. You're actually like sleep the appropriate amount of time. Like you're more present at home because you're not taking all those extra calls and working like resident type hours when you're first coming out. Like it's infinitely better in so many ways, not only for you, but also for the patients. So
yeah, it lets you be in a different gear to just have that much more distance on your career, I think, versus getting burned out.
The longevity, right? Like it's just, there's an element of like what hormesis theory, like a small amount of stress is good for you, right?
What theory? I've never heard this.
You never heard of hormesis theory? It's like this idea that like having a small amount of stress, like natural stress on you, is like actually a good thing because it like produces natural endorphins and all this kind of stuff. You can look it up. It's a real thing. I'm not making crap.
This is why coaches made me like bench press and squat all the time. Is it this?
I don't think your coaches knew what hormesis theory was.
But it sounds the same.
Yeah, hormone theory. That's different, Chris.
I was clean. I'm still clean.
I know you were. It's just this whole idea that it makes empiric sense, right? Like think about being like a couch potato and having no incentive to do anything, like, or no stress, like to push you to do things. You're not gonna have a good outcome. Whereas like if you have a little bit of like pressure or stress to do things, it actually is good.
So when you tell me I'm unorganized at work, I'm just gonna say it's hormesis theory, bro. Like
when I do what at work?
When you accuse me of being organized and like being underprepared, like I'm just putting stress on myself. So I can be better.
I practice very differently. We're very good friends, but it's funny. Like when we do anesthesia very differently. I'm much more like OCD and organized.
Like, you know what's going on for your cases in like 5 days. I know like much shorter time horizon.
I usually call my patients and like have a long spiel, let them ask questions, and Chris just shows up and is like, "Hey, I'm your anesthesiologist. Let's head back. Here's a margarita."
I mean, it's not. Yeah,
it's the right way of doing it. They both work. But
it just cool depends how you build. It's how you choose to build trust and like what your gestalt is and like what your spiel is.
Yeah, well, I mean, you also have like more of a presence than me. I show up and they ask me like if I'm in high school.
Yeah, I get that. Like I would think I would feel differently if that was like constantly a question I got. But I grew a beard since I graduated, and like people just don't ask me that anymore.
Yeah,
everyone's different.
Benefit me one day, hopefully.
Yep.
If they ask me, I'll just start doing a sailor sigh. Yeah. Exactly. All right. Well, thanks for watching. Whoever did watch this,
We got 80 people.
Yeah.
80 poor souls. I think lost some brain cells. Hopefully gained some, and then lost some more. But you gained some.
Yeah. Reach out if you want to watch any of the episodes. Again, we're geared more towards docs and medical professionals, because I think medicine really needs Bitcoin, and there's a lot of problems in medicine that could be fixed by that, and just this misappropriation, misallocation of resources because of the fiat standard.
Yeah.
I think most of the people who are probably watching this are already familiar with most of the Bitcoin books, but Chris and I cannot, emphasize enough, like read The Big Print by Larry Lepard, read the Bitcoin Standard. Like going down that rabbit hole kind of changes your lens on all, and explains a lot of things, and explains why you need to own this asset.
Yep.
So.
My dad is slowly catching up to my tweets. I can tell, like the ones I posted earlier in the day, he's going to get to this right as we close it. But
goddamn 10 o'clock and now I got to watch all this.
Yeah. All right. Dad, if you're watching this, sorry we missed you.
Go to bed.
I'll send you a text next time. I figured he was asleep, actually. But
yeah, he's got patients to see tomorrow. We don't want him to be tired.
We open this to not financial advice. We're going to close it with not financial advice.
Not financial advice. Two dumb docs. We don't know anything.
Yep. Do your own research. Talk to your own doctor. I will not answer medical questions via DMs. I'll put that out there now.
I'll redirect those to Dr. Adcock.
Don't send me a picture of your rash. Please.
Depends on where the rash is.
No, absolutely do not.
But yeah, I mean, that'd be fun too if anybody's interested. Just to have.
But if you have general anesthesia questions, I'm happy to answer those. Like what to expect. Those are fine questions, but.
Yeah, and the cool thing is anesthesia is kind of like this black box, right? Even the funny thing is, like, even to medical professionals, like the surgeons and the techs in the room, your circulating nurse, they have no idea like how the anesthesia works. They just think you're like up there and stuff just happens. The patient's asleep, and all of a sudden the patient's awake, and like they're fine. Like even when stuff's going wrong, the patient's desaturating, can't get the airway in, or your IV's infiltrated. At the time, the nurses don't know.
I had a surgeon say, "I need him relaxed or paralyzed for 30 minutes." I'm like, okay. So I gave him a dose of paralytic. If you don't know, we do use paralytic in surgery to like make surgery safer. It's not to be freaked out. You're not permanently paralyzed. But
you're asleep during that process.
Yeah, you're asleep and you just all your muscles are relaxed so that the surgeon can work safely. He said, "Oh, I need 30 minutes of relaxation." I'm like, okay. I gave it. I'm like, let me know when you want it off, and like I'll give the counter measure to that. Well, then it got to about 30 minutes. Like, are they relaxed? I'm like, yeah. You didn't ask me to not have them relaxed. I said 30 minutes. I wanted it to wear off. I wanted your dose to wear off in 30 minutes. I'm like,
I think I know who this is. But yeah, it's funny working with some of these guys. They just have as bad as it is, it's not every surgeon, but a lot of them are carpenters, right?
Yeah, but they're very good at what they do. But
they fix the problem, and they don't understand the physiology and like the pharmacology. That's your anesthesiologist. And
they don't have to, which is fine. It's
not their job description.
Yeah.
But it also gives us time to sit back there and learn more about Bitcoin.
Yeah, talk to them about Bitcoin.
I have one of my scrub cats is a Bitcoin cap, and then I have like the strategy jacket. So I'm always the guy in the back of a couple of our surgery centers that the surgeons walk in and ask how's Bitcoin doing.
What's the price at?
Yeah, all the ortho reps that own XRP.
Yeah, Someone even in our group chat asked about XRP. Like it's everywhere. Even really smart people that love Bitcoin.
It's that point of the cycle, that everybody's gonna be chasing all those gains. But like again, like the reason like people are so hyped about Ethereum is they think that all the stable coins backed on it, like Stretch is a stable coin with yield.
That's crazy. It'll be interesting.
So I don't know. I think it all comes back to Bitcoin.
And we haven't even had the earnings. Like this could have easily been an announcement for earnings, right?
Yeah. I mean, what is that? That's in a week?
It's basically in like
10 days?
10 days. This could have easily been the big reveal for earnings. So that tells me there's something else cooking.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like he's always got stuff cooking. You need to make an
or
AI.
Does this tell you? Is this
the AI? I need to get credit for this because I know you're going to do a better job posting it. An AI generated GIF of Sailor, like, yes, chef. And he's like looking back there, picking up like Bitcoin and all these different products.
Yeah. But is the timing conspicuous with the whole announcement of whatever is coming out of Washington tomorrow? I don't know. Time will tell.
He knows. Like, he's got to know. Like, the Trump kids and all them are close with Sailor, and he's been to Mar-a-Lago, and like, as bad as it is, like all these guys are front running.
Everyone's front running.
Our president just bought more Bitcoin than Metaplanet, who's been trying to build a strategy for the last
For a year.
year and a half.
Yeah.
And just in one day, he buys more than their whole stack.
Yeah.
Front runs our own country.
It's crazy times we live in. All right. I hope you get to enjoy time away from that. I know it's hard, especially I've been on vacation this summer. It's hard when things are going crazy, but
yeah, I'm gonna try and touch sand more than I touch screen. But
yeah,
I think I'm definitely gonna be touching screen because.
All right, y'all have a good time. You need to get out of here because you got a flight to catch.
Yeah, that'll be good. I'll be listening to a podcast on the flight.
I'll send you the good ones I find.
That's right.
All right, the 80 of you that joined us, thank you so much.
Catch up reach out. We'll answer you. Like if you guys have questions or comments, talk about how dumb we are and how wrong we are about stuff. Like we'd love to hear it. We're going to learn too. That's why we're doing this.
Yep. All right, I'm cutting that off.